Okay. It looks like Renee Good's two brothers, Luke Granger, I believe, are supposed to speak here in Congress soon, and I want to follow along with it. So it's scheduled for 2:45. So we'll see what happens. And in the meantime, I can speak just a little bit until this comes on. Everybody knows that I am an avid Trump supporter, and I stand with ICE 100%. I feel like it's important to listen to what the family of Renee Good has to say about her actions in trying to impede and block ICE patrol as they were trying to arrest violent criminals from our streets. And a lot of people will say Alex Preddy, Renee Good. There was another individual that was shot 5 times in California by ICE agents. And I say, hey, this isn't a perfect world. To err is human, but I will bring up the names of victims that have been, killed by illegal aliens over the years. Uh, actually, just a couple years that Biden unlocked our borders to illegals. So, in getting those names correct, and I want to remember Jocelyn Nangare, 12 years old. In June 2024, two Venezuelan men, Franklin Jose Pina Ramos and Jonathan Jose Martinez Rangel, were charged with capital murder after allegedly raping and strangling 12-year-old Jocelyn Nangare in Houston, Texas. Both suspects had crossed the border illegally and were released into the U.S. by border agents. Then we have Laken Riley, a nursing student who at the University of Georgia. Laken Riley was killed in February 2024 while running on campus. Jose Antonio Ibarra, a Venezuelan citizen who entered the U.S. illegally in 2022, was arrested and charged with her murder. Rachel Moran, 37, a Maryland mother of 5, was found murdered in August 2023. Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador with a history of violence in other states, was charged with her rape and murder. Larisha Thompson, in May 2025, 6 illegal immigrants were charged in connection with the murder of this South Carolina mother of 2. This is just a few. These are just a few of the Americans that were harmed by these illegals that were here. And I'm getting a little flack from my stance on this, but that's okay. I can live with that. Go ahead, give me flack because these are freaking burglars to me. That come the criminal element of the illegal immigrants. They're burglars to me, and I can't understand these protesters. I can't understand Alex Preddy. He was just begging for it. He was just begging for it, and they made a saint out of the guy. He said, "Come on, fucking assault me, motherfuckers." That's what he said. That's not peaceful. But these two individuals were fighting against the people that I just mentioned. Had they not been there playing silly games, they would not have won silly prizes. In this country, we are now at the find out part of fuck around. That's where we're at the find out part. So we'll just wait for this to come on, and I'll sit here quietly. Let's see what's going on with it. Nothing happening yet. Nothing happening yet. But soon. Soon. And in my city, just a few, well, not my city, my state, just 20 miles from here, Springfield has come under fire as there's a large Haitian community that has been in asylum there for years and years, and it keeps getting extended. A judge has blocked Donald Trump's order to end that refugee period, and some of the people in Springfield are speaking up for the Haitians, and some of the people are not. Uh, Trump's approval rating has definitely gone down, and that's what these Democrats want when they send these people out into the streets and tell them to get into the faces of these ICE officers. Uh, they encourage it. They want you to sacrifice all these people that are telling you to go out there, go back home to their mansions, and they behind their gated communities. And the thing about each and every one of these protesters is that when they're done protesting for no reason, in my opinion, when they're done protesting, they go home at night and they lock their front door. Now I wonder why it is that they do that. Why would they lock their front door? Let's ask them that. Why would they do that? Why? They should leave their home wide open. That way anybody could just come right on in there and get as much food as they want and sit out, watch TV, change the channel, do whatever they want, rest in your bed. You shouldn't make them leave, because if you make them leave, you're a piece of shit. You hate everybody. Why are you locking your doors at night for, snowflakes? So we will wait patiently for this to. Let me see if I can find it in other places. Let's see if I can find it in other places. If not, I'll come back to the New York Post. There's nothing on it right now. Let's see if we can filter it out a little bit. Let's go with today. Nope, nothing. Let me go back to the New York Post. Let's see what happens there. Like I said, I'm just waiting on this to open up. It seems as Renee Good's brothers. Let me give you some information on them. It's important for me to hear them speak, even though I feel like their sister got involved where she shouldn't have been. I feel like that was a stupid mistake of hers. I feel like Becca Good pushed Renee into that because she said it's my fault. I led her to this. I think she has to live with those words forever. Drive, baby, drive. Instead of stop, let's just get out. Let's just stop. And let's just blah blah blah. So it's only 2 hours. I've got this short video. I don't know if I can. So apparently they're going to speak about use of force. I want to get their names out there. and her attorney is going to speak. She has the same attorney that represented the George Floyd situation, which was horrible. I'm so glad that Derek Chauvin got put in jail for that. That's, I'm not firm on cops going out and just killing people like this. I don't think George Floyd was doing anything to warrant him being shot and killed. But Renee Good wasn't. Let's see here. Renee Good's brothers speak on Capitol Hill. Luke and Brent Ganger are Renee Good's brothers who are going to speak here shortly. I hope that this live kicks on from the New York Post so I can bring it to you and we can discuss it together. So we'll just move around a little bit here. Hi, how y'all doing? Look at that ugly mug on me. But no, let's go ahead and share this real quick.
Stop breaking the law!
All of our customer service representatives are currently
I'm breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money cause I had none. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I left my baby to feel so bad. I guess my race is done. But she's the best girl I've ever had. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Okay, we're getting a little something here. Let me move this over. Move it over. Hang in there with me, folks. There's my face again. Nobody wants to see that. Let me get right here. StreamYard's changed a little bit. I used to use it all the time. Okay, let's see. Now it says coverage to begin at 3 p.m. 3 p.m., y'all. It does not. Let me change this. Get my mug out of there. Turn this down right here. Let me go to. Yeah, I don't like the way that this is set up. I don't like the way this is set up anymore. StreamYard is a little bit different. But let's just see what happens here. It says 3 o'clock. It's 3:01. I have a turkey sandwich with avocado and pine nuts on it. Please forgive me as I indulge. So we wait here until 3 o'clock, apparently. Again, I cannot. Let me just. Two brothers of Renee Good, the Minneapolis mother of three who was shot and killed by a federal agent in January, will appear at a Democratic forum Tuesday in Washington, examining the violent tactics and disappropriate use of force by the Department of Homeland Security officers and agents. Luke and Brent Ganger are among those who are scheduled to speak at the forum, which is being sponsored by U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat, Connecticut, and U.S. Representative Robert Garcia, Democrat, California. Antonio Ramanucci, the Chicago civil rights attorney representing Good's family, is also scheduled to speak along with other U.S. citizens whose encounters with law enforcement officers have gone viral on social media. So that's what we're waiting for here. It's government at 3 o'clock, so that means what, 3:10? So I'm just messing around in the chat. I might just move around a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. Hasn't started yet. Now, do I think that, people ask me a lot, do I think that Renee Good deserved to be shot in the head? That's a good question. Did she deserve it? No. She didn't. She didn't actually deserve it. But did she cause it? Yes, she did. Did that officer have a reasonable fear that he was in danger, or the officers or the public around him was in danger? Yes, he did. And I watched the video over and over and over again. And what I may contend, and a lot of people don't speak on this, is he shouldn't have been in front of her car. But they're trained. That's why he pulls up. Jonathan Ross is driving that silver Suburban. He pulls up and he gets out of the car and he's got his cell phone. What he's doing is he's going completely around her car to identify it. He focused a little bit on the stickers that were on the windows and the plate, while Rebecca Good was intimidating. You want to come at us? You want to come at us, bro? I suggest you go get a lunch, she said in her deepest voice. So they're being these ICE agents are being trained to document antagonizers. So his intention for doing the phone in the first place was to document the car, document the plates, document their face. He had no intention. He didn't think by the time he got back around the front of that car, he was going to have to shoot someone. Now, taking in, here we go. There we go. Let me get some volume on this. It's going to take him a while to.
Well, thank you. We are going to go ahead and start this joint hearing. And I want to first begin by welcoming everyone. My name is Robert Garcia, and I'm the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. And I especially want to thank Senator Blumenthal for his incredible leadership. This is our second joint hearing between our two committees in both, of course, the Senate and the House. And today, of course, we're going to be examining the use of violence in immigration enforcement. And so this is a very important moment for us as a committee, and of course, an important moment for us to understand what is happening across this country. And so we are, of course, excited to be here and understand how important it is for everyone to really understand what's going on at this moment. We're also going to be hearing from a variety of witnesses as well, and we're very grateful to everyone for being here. I want to also just mention that we're going to have members of the Senate as well as members of the House that are be coming in and out to ask questions. And so I want to welcome, of course, our members of the House Oversight Committee. And then, of course, we're going to be having members of the U.S. Senate here as well. I'm going to begin with some opening comments. Then I'm going to turn it over to Senator Blumenthal, who's also going to be introducing our two of our first witnesses that are here. We'll be hearing from them in just a minute. Welcome to both of you, of course. And then we'll be going on to questions after the two sets of opening statements. And so we'll go ahead and begin. I want to just note that we're here because the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, and of course, broader agencies across DHS are completely out of control. And because Congress has a responsibility to step in when constitutional rights are being
An unexpected repair could wipe out your savings. Protect yourself with a home warranty from Cinch Home.
constitutional rights before he was pepper sprayed, tackled, disarmed, and then shot repeatedly in the back. Now, Renee Good was a mom who told an officer, which we all have seen on video, "I'm not mad at you." She said, "I'm not mad at you," before she was shot dead.
So what?
We mourn both of these two Americans today, and we find that these shootings cannot be justified.
If she wasn't mad at them, why was
part
she
of a
out there?
broader
in the
pattern of
fucking street?
escalating unlawful violence by the Trump administration and DHS to intimidate dissent. Now, this administration then lied about the events and is now obstructing independent investigations to cover up misconduct and deny accountability to the victims and to the public. Our hearing today will build on evidence, not just that we put out in our reports and our investigation, but the incredible work being done by the Senate, its various committees, And again, I especially want to thank Senator Blumenthal for his leadership of holding these hearings.
You can see me following
The
along.
stories that we're going to hear today are hard to tell and they're hard to hear. So I want to thank again our witnesses for the courage and the strength that it takes to be here today. This is a step towards accountability. And we know that the courage, that the strength that you all have that are bringing is in light of what you're hearing from the administration. I think it's important for the public to recognize
Let's listen to
that
what
this
they have to say.
administration has lied, has defamed,
You can see my
and has
comments in the
smeared
chat.
people that have been peacefully protesting. They've weaponized the Department of Justice to silence protesters, observers, and of course, journalists. But I also remind folks that Donald Trump won't be president forever. Kristi Noem won't be the secretary forever. And when you serve this country in an elected office or in uniform, you swear an oath to the Constitution. You pledge to work for all Americans. You don't get a license to kill, and there's no absolute immunity. We're going to stand up for the rights of our communities, and we believe strongly that we need to hear the stories of those that are in front of us today. I want to thank our witnesses for the courage, and I want to yield back to our host today, and really the person that's been organizing and leading all of these hearings, Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you so much, Representative Garcia. Working with you has been a great experience in partnership, and I am really gratified that we're going to continue our work, continue our investigation, continue our efforts to hold DHS accountable. This hearing is extraordinary and unprecedented, but so is the inhumanity and brutality that we've seen from a government agency. With us today are brave Americans who have come forward to speak truth to power. That phrase is overused, but truly it applies today. With us in spirit are also Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, in spirit. They should be here in person, but they were murdered. They were murdered by their own government.
They were not murdered by their
They
own
were
government. They were
killed
murdered by
in
their own
cold blood.
stupidity.
And I can only imagine how painful it must be for you to see that image of your sister, which speaks to your courage, your guts, your grit and determination to be here. And you have won the admiration and gratitude of all of the colleagues here and many others and Americans throughout the country. The witnesses here bear the scars of government lawlessness and DHS brutality, mental scars as well as physical scars. They're here as the face and voice.
Your book deserves the same treatment bestsellers get. That is exactly what Spines offers at our premium level. This isn't just publishing, it is a complete VIP experience.
This
You get
ad's coming on
one-on-one
during the
support
live
from a
stream.
publishing specialist who guides you through every step. Handcrafted cover design created specifically for your book. Expert editing and proofreading to make your writing shine. Professional formatting for print, ebook, and audiobook. Translation services if you want to reach readers in other languages. Even a video book trailer to showcase your book. Everything you need for a world-class publishing experience.
In this room just a few hours ago, at a hearing of the Armed Services Committee, I sat on this dais as we heard from witnesses about our national nuclear security in the face of threats from enemies and adversaries abroad who have nuclear weapons. We are here about a matter of national security that is equally important to the one that we heard about this morning. The violence unleashed by the Trump administration against our fellow citizen can touch any American at any time, any one of you who are listening by live stream or C-SPAN, or who are hearing and seeing this hearing. Whether you're going to a church clothing drive
Were you going to church
to
to
make a
worship?
donation on your way to a doctor's appointment,
And a bunch of
or
fools
even
come in
heading
there.
home from dropping your 6-year-old son off at school.
As long as you're not
Real stories.
as long as you're
we
not
will
blocking
hear
the road and dancing in the road
today.
and enticing federal officers.
These stories
stabbing
and
you.
far too many
Stabbing
others
you.
demand that every one of us stand up against the injustices and demand accountability. The directives underlying this lawlessness come from the top. Those pictures of the leaders that Representative Garcia showed you are ultimately the culprits here. They bear responsibility. They are the ones who issued the quotas for arrests and detention that are driving the brutality. They are the ones who have issued a policy directive, kept secret
They're not the ones
until a
that
whistleblower
ran
came
to the
to
cops
me,
and kicked out
showing
tail
that
lights
the
and spit
acting
at them.
director of ICE is
They're not the
authorizing
ones
agents
that blocked
to
off the road at 9 in
break
the
down your
morning,
door,
blowing whistles.
ransack your home,
This
terrify your
motherfucker
children,
right here, when
detain
he gets done
and
giving his
arrest you,
speech, he goes back to
as
his
has
gated
happened
community
countless
inside of
times
his mansion,
across the
locks
country.
his
The
fucking
top
door.
ranks of
Why does
DHS
he lock
are
his
more than
door?
complicit. They are the driving force behind this brutality,
Well,
and
who's
they
the
should be
driving
held
force
accountable.
for Lake and
They've not
Riley,
only
some
directed
of those others that were
those
killed
actions,
and
but
raped
also the
by
lies
illegals. Joe
and
Biden.
misinformation
We're cleaning up
that
Joe
have been
Biden's mess.
presented to courts in violation of the duties lawyers have to present only the truth to courts. And they have engaged in character assassination against today's witnesses, as well as countless others, including Alex and Renee.
No, we
We
feel
are at
sorry
a
for their family.
defining moment.
I feel-
It's a moral moment.
I feel sorry for those families.
We are determined to continue
Why
to
is none of
investigate
Alex
and uncover
Reddy's
wrongdoing,
family
but we'll
chosen
also
to
seek
vote for it?
action for accountability and justice. My feeling is that we should demand a complete overhaul, a rebuilding of DHS and the agencies that fall here. These reforms should include body cameras and identification on every officer, masks off at all times, rigorous use of force training and policies,
I have no problem.
independent investigations into acts of violence,
Yes.
and ongoing monitoring of these agents. A police force that has these kinds of systematic failings would be supervised by a monitor. And we've seen it in Connecticut, as my colleagues have seen it in their states around the country. And most important for me, rights of citizens to seek redress, rights of anyone to have recourse in the courts to make sure that agents violating their rights are held accountable. If you go to your local police chief and ask, what are the norms? Every one of the demands that I've listed here is going to be recounted to you,
That sounds good.
including a right of action on the part of people to seek accountability. It can be done with 4 words. 4 words.
Then we should toughen the laws on
In
protesters
the
who
current
impede
United States
police agents
Code,
that are trying
1983,
to
all we need to do
serve their
is
duties out.
add,
That means if you
when we
blow a
say
whistle,
every
you're
person,
obstructing.
under color of any statute,
You
ordinance,
stand in the road
regulation,
when they
custom,
told
or
you to get
usage
out, you're obstructing.
of
That
the
obstruction
United
carry
States,
a bigger charge than
the
just a
United
normal
States,
obstruction.
or any other state or territory. That basic responsibility ought to be the right of every citizen, because we know that rights without remedies are empty promises. If a local cop can be sued, so should an ICE agent or a CPB official.
Sure.
And so should
I agree with
Greg
that.
Bovino and Kristi Noem and Todd Lyons and Steve Miller, and yes, Donald Trump. There is a real need for a full accounting of what these agencies have done. Someday we should have a Truth and Justice commission to investigate the systematic failings. But for right now, I can promise that I will not support another dime for the Department of Homeland Security unless there is this fundamental, far-reaching reform and restraint, in effect, a rebuilding of the agency. So Renee and Alex are not with us, but the silencing of their voices should strengthen our resolve
No,
to force change, to stand up for
their
what's
voices
right,
were
to
not
show our
silenced.
neighbors, our communities,
Their
and the world
instruction was silence.
that we won't let totalitarian tyranny prevail and fear crumble this great nation.
These are not heroes.
One day, I think we will look back and hold ourselves accountable,
They're not heroes.
whether we stood up
I stand for
and
the
took
victims of
stands.
illegal
Luke
aliens.
Granger and Brett
That's what I
Granger
stand for.
are showing
If
that
people want to get in
courage
the
and
way of that
strength
and get their
today.
heads blown off, that's on them.
And they're here to share
They have a
some
right to
words
do that.
about their sister. Luke and Brent, on behalf of all of us, I want to express again our gratitude, and we offer our condolences. Words
I need
are
to hear from these two.
inadequate,
I got nothing against these two at all.
but
I just want
just
to hear
know
what
from our hearts,
hear what they have to say.
we are with you in spirit for this devastating loss, and we thank you for being here today. And I recognize you now for your remarks.
Thank you, Ranking Member Blumenthal and Ranking Member Garcia, and distinguished members of Congress. My name is Luke Ganger, and I'm here with my brother Brent. Renee Good is our sister. We're here on behalf of Nay's big family and those who loved her. We're here to ask for your help. I was talking to my 4-year-old last week when she noticed I was not doing well. I had to come here today and talk to some important people. She knows that her aunt died and that somebody caused it to happen.
She did.
She told me that there are no bad people and that everyone makes mistakes. She has Nay's spirit. The deep distress our family feels because of Nay's loss is in such a violent and unnecessary way is complicated by feelings of disbelief, distress, and desperation for change. In the last few weeks, our family took some consolation, thinking that perhaps Nay's death would bring about change in our country,
No,
and it has not.
it's not.
The completely
We should not
surreal
encourage that type
scenes
of
taking
behavior.
place on the streets of Minneapolis
Bless this man's heart.
are beyond explanation. This is not just a bad day or a rough week or isolated incidents. These encounters with federal agents are changing the community and changing many lives, including ours, forever.
Then don't have encounters with them.
And I still don't know how to explain to my 4-year-old what these agents are doing when we pass by.
Tell them the truth.
Our family is deeply grateful for the outpouring of love and support from the community in
And
Minneapolis
$1.5 million.
and from people across
No
the
offense,
country
anyone.
and around the world.
I know this man is heartbroken.
The prayers and words of support have truly brought us comfort, and it is meaningful that these sentiments have come from people of all colors, faiths, and ideals. That is a perfect reflection of Renee, who carried peace, patience, and love for others wherever she went. Our family is a very American blend. We vote differently, and we rarely completely agree on the finer details of what it means to be a citizen of this country.
Means to be legal for
We
one.
attend various churches and some not at all. And despite those differences, we have always treated each other with love and respect. And we've gotten even closer during this very divided time in our country. And we hope that our family can be even a small example to others, not to let political ideals divide us, to be good like Renee. But the most important thing we can do today is to help this panel and our country understand who Renee is and what a beautiful American we have lost. A sister, a daughter, mother, a partner, and a friend.
No doubt.
Good afternoon. My name is Brent Ganger, and I'd like to share some thoughts from the eulogy that I gave on my sister's behalf this past Saturday. When I think of Renee, I think of dandelions and sunlight. Dandelions don't ask permission to grow. They push through cracks in the sidewalk, through hard soil, through places where you don't expect beauty, and suddenly there they are, bright, alive. Unapologetically hopeful. That was Renee. And sunlight, warm, steady, life-giving, because when she walked in a room, things felt lighter, even on cloudy days. Renee had a way of showing up in the world that made you believe things were going to be okay. Not because she ignored the hardship, but because she chose optimism anyway. She chose to look for what was good, what was possible, and what was worth loving. Nene loved fiercely, openly, and without hesitation. As a mother, Renee poured herself into love. The kind of love that shows up every day, that sacrifices quietly, that cheers loudly, that believes deeply. Her children were and are her heart. Walking around outside her body. And she made sure they felt safe, valued, and endlessly loved. As a sister, she was constant. Someone you could lean on, laugh with, or just sit in silence beside. She had a way of making you feel understood, even when you didn't have the words yet. She didn't just listen, she saw you. She believed in second chances. She believed tomorrow could be better than today. She believed that kindness mattered, and she lived that belief. Even when things were hard, Nay looked for the light. And if she couldn't find it, she became the light for somebody else. It was the excessively ordinary things that made Nay so beautiful. There are billions of people who now know her name, and it would be so easy to fall into the false belief that great heroic things are required to overcome difficult things in the world. But as Tolkien wrote, it is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love.
I don't see it.
That's why the image of dandelions feels so right. People try to pull them up, overlook them, dismiss them, but they keep coming back, stronger, brighter, spreading seeds of hope everywhere they land. Renee planted those seeds in all of us. And her children, in her family. In friends, coworkers, and people who maybe didn't even realize they needed her light at the time. And sunlight. Sunlight doesn't ask for recognition. It just gives. It warms, it nurtures, it helps things grow. Renee did that for us. She helped us grow. She helped us believe in ourselves. She helped us see the good, even when life felt heavy. Renee is not gone from us. She's in the light that finds us on hard days. She's in the resilience we didn't know we had until we needed it. She's in the laughter, the memories, the love that continues to grow. Like dandelions, like sunlight, and like Renee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brent and Luke, for that really powerful appeal to the nation's conscience. And I hope to our colleagues on both sides of the aisle, and I hope that all of our colleagues will join in seeking the action that you just described that is so important, not just as a tribute to your sister, but as a way to prevent the kind of lawless brutality that caused her death.
I know.
At Drive Time, we make it easy to buy a car.
Get approved on your phone, shop for cars on your phone, customize your terms on.
We are going to now have the second panel come forward and excuse the first.
They use these people as pawns. This is all political for these people that are sitting out there outside of this family. Man, bless their hearts. But they're using their pain and their tragedy for political gain. Come on in and sit down. Tell us all about how you feel. Now here they have people who are going to, I believe, speak about encounters they've had with federal agents. Some of the stories I know, some of them I do not. There's no doubt that Renee Good was a great person. And there's no doubt that her brothers were not sitting there. They weren't telling any lies about her. You can have all the goodness in the world, but when you flee and elude from officers who have just gave you a lawful command to get out of your car, you take the chance of being shot.
We're ready to begin the second panel. I want to welcome all five of you and reiterate our thanks to every one of you for being here. Everything that I said about Brent and Luke could apply to every one of you. Your courage and your strength enable us to move forward, to seek action, to appeal to the conscience of our country. We're fortunate to be joined today by Antonio Ramanucci. Mr. Ramanucci is an attorney representing the family.
He also represented
Renee
George Floyd.
Nicole Good. He has extensive experience representing victims of policy violence, including the family of George Floyd. Marie Martinez is an American citizen, resident of Chicago. She is here to share her experience of being shot 5 times by Customs and Border Protection agents in Chicago this past October. Alia Rahman is an American citizen and resident of Minneapolis. She is here to share her story of being violently stopped and detained by immigration agents while on her way to a doctor's appointment just 3 weeks ago. Martin Daniel Rascon.
They grabbed her up. They grabbed her up real quick, didn't they?
He is an American citizen and resident of San Bernardino, California. Mr. Rascon is here to share his story of being shot at by an immigration agent while traveling in a vehicle with family members last year. Finally, on our panel, Seth Stoughton. He is a former police officer and professor at the University of South Carolina School of Law, where he is faculty director of Excellence in Policing and Public Safety. He is here to share his expertise about the proper methods of policing, including when and where it is appropriate for police to use force. Mr. Ramanucci, we'll begin with your testimony.
Ranking Member Blumenthal, Ranking Member Garcia, and distinguished members of Congress. My name is Antonio Ramanucci, and I am a civil rights and tort litigation attorney with the deep honor of representing the Renee Good family for her tragic shooting death by federal agents in Minneapolis. I have handled excessive force cases across the country for decades. My colleagues and I are deeply distressed at these invasions onto fellow Americans' civil rights by our own government that have gone well beyond the initial scope of removing criminals. The occupation by ICE and CBP in our cities is way beyond their mission, leading to unnecessary provocation that causes needless harm and death. These operations in multiple states have routinely and consistently included violations of the Constitution. We call for an immediate end of false narratives by federal officials about the victims of excessive force. The character assassinations and conclusions before an investigation has been started, let alone completed, must stop. In America, our leaders must be held to a standard of truth and responsible speech. There is no such thing as absolute immunity, and that perception leads to agents who behave with absolute impunity, leading to exaggerated and violent, provoked encounters with people. This is an unprecedented and deeply unsettling time, and the roadmap to navigating this national crisis lies within this august body. My job today will be to share information about the process to hold federal officers accountable for actions we believe are violations of constitutional rights in the face of other investigative bodies failing to do so. In Renee Good's civil case, our team has promised to provide transparency about what happened to her as we continue our independent investigation in an aggressive way, but also in a moral and ethical manner. We want to be the voice of reason for the country that wants to understand and deserves the facts. For example, we wrote and shared a letter to relevant federal agencies asking for responsible handling and preservation of evidence, such as Renee's vehicle, records of the agent's declared injuries, his cell phone, and any statements he made about the use of force and protesters.
I have no problem with that.
At the family's request, we conducted an independent autopsy of Renee's body so we could better understand her injuries and her experience in those final moments. And we released some of those high-level results, again, to provide transparency and truth to Americans. And lastly, we are providing information to the public on reasonable policing policies and practices so people can view the video of Renee's death through that lens. The lens is a wide-angle one where the totality of circumstances must be viewed and not just one frame. The United States legal system allows for individuals to pursue civil justice with the suit against a city, county, or state for the conduct of its officers and against the officers individually. These types of legal claims are made under what is called 42 U.S. Code Section 1983. This was part of the Federal Civil Rights Act of 1871 and is essential for accountability when an officer behaves unconstitutionally. Keep in mind that this act is 155 years old and desperately needs an amendment. However, similar legal action against federal law enforcement officers like ICE or Border Patrol is not currently allowed under Section 1983. There is a current possible path of civil recovery through the Federal Tort Claims Act, or FTCA, but this is challenging. It requires first the filing of a claim with the government agency that has harmed you, and then waiting up to 6 months for a reply. Our current paradox is that America should not require the permission of the federal government to sue the federal government for cases like Renee Good or Alex Preddy. If the government must give you permission to seek accountability for violation of constitutional rights, then your rights are just words on paper. There is a legislative remedy to this paradox. At the state level, Minnesota and other states can pass bills making it a state law to violate constitutional rights. In Illinois, we did this by signing House Bill 1312. Congress can remove this roadblock to federal accountability by amending Section 1983 and adding 4 words, as you, Senator Blumenthal, pointed out, so federal officers can be sued civilly if their conduct merits it. The current language spells out that state, county, and municipal law enforcement can be sued, and Congress would only need to add the words "or the United States" to the list of governments whose officers could be brought to civil justice. It's that simple. I'm urging you to consider this amendment and fix a 155-year-old problem. The current path to hold federal officers accountable is narrow and an uphill climb, and that will not deter us in the Renee Good case. Please, let's not repeat a very recent moment in history when we said never again, and having Congress miss the opportunity to pass harm-stopping legislation seeking accountability when the law requires. I thank you. I thank this esteemed panel for your commitment to the truth, American values, and of course, our Constitution.
Thank you. Ms. Martinez.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to express my gratitude. Thank you, Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to be here today, for taking the time to hear my testimony. I give thanks to God. He has been a constant presence in my life and the source of my strength. Without him, I wouldn't be here standing. I am a living testimony of his grace. Sincerely, thank you everyone who has kept me in their thoughts and prayers and who has supported me since day one. From the parents at my school to my neighbors, to my family and friends, strangers near and far, from Mexico to Colombia, thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Esto es para toda mi gente inmigrante. My name is Marimar Martinez. I am a first-generation Mexican-American. As a survivor of this administration actions, as an advocate for those who do not have a voice, those that are pleading for justice, living in fear, and those who are asking for meaningful change and accountability. I come from a beautiful family full of immigrants. I am proud of my roots. I am born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, where I learned the values of resilience, community, respect, love, and hope. Those lessons have shaped me since childhood and continue to guide me through my adult life. On October 4, 2025, those values were tested when my life was nearly taken by my own government. This testimony is my attempt to give voice to an experience that words struggle to hold, but silence cannot justify. On Saturday, October 4, 2025, I woke up tired, but committed to doing the fall cleaning I promised myself I would do that day. After 2 hours, I had successfully filled an entire bag of good quality clothes and shoes I wanted to take to donate to my local church. After a quick shower and a cup of coffee, I put the bag of clothes in the back of my car and headed towards the church. As I was getting close to the church, I noticed a SUV that appeared to be similar to the Border Patrol vehicles that had been invading our Hispanic neighborhood. In the previous week, I got a quiet but firm sense that something wasn't right. As I passed the vehicle, I noticed an Uber light in the front windshield, no front plates as required in Illinois, an out-of-state license plate in the back. I then noticed a uniformed Border Patrol agent in the vehicle. As a 30-year-old USA citizen with no criminal history, I believed that I had nothing to worry about. But I was concerned for my friends, neighbors, based on the well-publicized incidents involving Border Patrol agents in our community over the past few weeks, arresting anyone with brown skin for no legitimate law enforcement reasons. For the next 15 to 20 minutes, I followed these Border Patrol agents through my
Done.
neighborhood, honking my horn,
Done.
shouting
That's
out La
it.
Migra,
Done.
to warn my neighbors
Done.
about the presence of these agents
I feel
who
sorry
have been
for La
terrorizing our
Migra, La
community over the
Migra.
past few
That means
weeks.
immigration control. Yeah.
As I
Why?
did this, my neighbors start standing on the porches and sidewalks, join in
You're encouraging
on
these
this
criminals to
spontaneous
run. You're
life
giving
alert
them a chance
system
to
and
hide.
began
That's
setting off
harboring a
their
fugitive.
car alarms to warn other neighbors. As the Border Patrol vehicle turned on Kedzie Avenue, I continued to beat my horn and warn my community.
Beep your horn. You're using your
As
horn
we
illegally.
approached the intersection
You're not
of
allowed to do that
39th
unless
and
it's emergency.
Kedzie, my vehicle was 2 to 3 feet to the left of the Border Patrol vehicle. He started to swerve into my lane as he was driving.
So
I made eye contact with the driver of the Border Patrol vehicle and watched as he turned the steering wheel once again to his left and sideswept my vehicle.
oops.
I immediately froze, slammed on the brakes, and stopped my car. The Border Patrol vehicle stopped
Oh
just
shit! I shouldn't have been
1
honking
to
my horn.
2 car lengths ahead of me. It seemed like time stopped. I knew from watching the news coverage of
They wondered why you were
other
alerting
Border
these
Patrol
criminals to run.
encounters in Chicago that I was in danger. I watched the vehicle
You put
of
yourself in
Border
danger.
Patrol agent killing Silverio Villegas Gonzalez just 3 weeks prior. I knew I had to get to safety before I was dragged from my car and likely beaten or killed. I drove forward and went around the Border Patrol agents, who jumped out of his car and pointed his gun at me. I moved to the far left lane, striking the curb on the far left side of Kedzie. The next thing I knew, I felt a burning sensation in my arms, legs, and that I had been shot by pepper balls,
Oops.
which I also seen these agents fire at people in our community. As I continued to drive past the Border Patrol agents, I could hear my back passenger window shatter, and I felt bullets continue to pierce my body. As I attempted to drive to a safe location, I began to feel lightheaded. I looked down and I noticed blood gushing out of my arms and legs, and I realized I'd been shot multiple times. As I became lightheaded, I became worried I would pass out and endanger other drivers on the road. I managed to drive a mile from where the incident happened, and I pulled into a parking lot of a mechanic shop, and I called 911. I told the 911 operator that Border Patrol agents had just shot me and I needed help. I recall some of the workers from the shop sitting me down in a chair as I was waiting for help, but I was losing this battle. I saw my life flash before me and slowly began to think this was the end for me. And before losing consciousness, the next thing I remember is the EMT putting me on a stretcher, taking me to the hospital. At the hospital, I remember seeing multiple agents standing around, watching me be treated for my wounds.
Yeah.
My arms, legs,
Because
and
they
chest
wondered
were
why
all
you were
wrapped in
alerting.
bandages.
They thought you
I
were
had 7
illegal.
bullet holes in my body.
Why would you
I
be
remember
alerting?
the agents rushing the nurses to finish up so they could take me with them. I still felt dizzy. I was not able to fully process what had happened to me. After being at the hospital for less than 3 hours, I was discharged from the hospital and took custody of the FBI. As we left the hospital, I was escorted out through the back in a wheelchair. I observed over dozens of Border Patrol agents waiting outside the hospital. One of the agents came out to me with his cell phone and took a photograph of me. It was the same agent who had previously kept coming in and out my room, and I had to repeatedly.
Are you a homeowner? At Free Tax USA, we help make your taxes easy and affordable. Everyone qualifies for free.
Me. But he did not care. It still haunts me that this agent has my photo on his phone. Was this the agent that shot me? Was this a trophy for him? I was next taken to the FBI building for further processing because they rushed me out of the hospital so quickly the blood started soaking through the bandages. I heard the agents talking about how the jail will not accept me in this current condition. I begged the agents to take me to a different hospital to give me proper medical care. Seeing me stand in a pool of my own blood, they were concerned about my health. One of the kind FBI agents brought a bag of additional bandages and worked quickly to pour more dressings over my bloody bandages. The FBI agents agreed to take me to a different hospital where my wounds were treated again, and I received additional medical care before being released back into law enforcement. Before being released back to law enforcement custody the following day. The agents took me from the second hospital to the federal detention center in downtown Chicago. I had never even had a parking ticket before, and now I was sitting in federal detention center just for being the victim in a minor traffic accident.
You're not a victim.
Things were surreal. The news in the jail that evening had my story and was being called a domestic terrorist. They said I quote unquote rammed federal agents. I was in shock. If they only knew I was a month away from paying off my truck and I would never intentionally damage my vehicle, much less be crazy enough to hit a law enforcement. On Friday, I was teaching the young children at the Montessori school, and we were singing and dancing and getting ready for spooky season, preparing fall activities to do the following week. And on Saturday, my own government was calling me a domestic terrorist, and I was in federal detention centers with the bullet holes all over my body. I went to court on Monday, and I met my attorney, Christopher Parenti. He told me the government was trying to have me kept in jail until the trial because they claimed I was a danger to the community. I told them I had never been in trouble before and that the government claims were all wrong. I looked around the courtroom and I recognized over dozens mom and dads from the Montessori school, along with my boss and most of my family members who came to support me. I heard my attorney tell the judge that he had received over 50 letters from the moms and dads from the kids, all describing me as caring, loving, empathetic teacher, the exact opposite of a domestic terrorist. I heard the government describe me as being armed, even though I knew my gun was always inside my snap closed holster at the bottom of my purse, where I always kept it. The prosecutor told the judge there was no allegation that I have took the gun out my purse, but that did not stop DHS from continuing to say I was armed. During this incident, my attorney explained to the judge that I have a valid concealed carry license and that as a young woman living in Chicago, I carry a gun to protect me from danger.
Had enough.
Thankfully, the judge quickly denied the government's detention request and released me on bond that
I had
day.
enough of that. Bye-bye. Well, I've had enough of that. I felt sorry for her until she said, I saw ICE agents and I began following them for 15 minutes and honking my horn to alert my neighbors and hollering, La Migra, La Migra. So these officers thought, what the hell is she doing that for? She must be an illegal and she's trying to get away from us. That's what they thought. She's alerting these other people. Duh. Did you get what you get? Go ICE.